We had a major infestation of wasps a year ago, and I posted a couple of pictures of the nest, one of the nests up in the loft on Instagram, and a couple of well-meaning people said to me that I shouldn't post a video on it. Andy said I'd alienate half of my audience, and Helen pointed out by forwarding an article from The Guardian that wasps actually have a very important role to play in our ecosystem in terms of pollinating plants and stuff like that. And largely on the back of those two comments, maybe feeling a bit delicate at the time, I decided not to post that video. But I've decided to post a video today because whilst I have a huge amount of respect for what Andy and Helen said, and generally for everything that's said in my comments, I think it's a really valuable source of checks and balances to what I put out there on YouTube. There are a couple of important points that I think we all need to discuss. Firstly, going back to Helen's comment, she said that as long as you don't bother them, they won't bother you. Well, in my case, that wasn't the situation. Firstly, I was attacked, I was stung 3 times in the house unprovoked because I suppose we had so many wasps getting into the house from the loft space. But also they did a lot of damage in the loft. So today I'm going to show you the damage that those wasps caused. I'm going to hopefully encourage amongst us all some debate about whether or not we should be getting rid of wasp nests. And thirdly, I'm going to show you how I safely resolved the problem. So let's have a quick look into the loft space itself and the damage that the wasps created. Unfortunately, most of the old cottage roof has no roof felt, giving wasps multiple options for getting in. On the face of it, the nest looked pretty typical, but once I'd broken it up, it seemed to be full of loft insulation. The wasps have basically eaten through the insulation cover shrouding the water storage tank and incorporated it into their nest. Can you see that? This is extraordinary. That was glued quite comprehensively there. So the wasps have glued that on. You can see the marks they've made on the rafter. And they'd also eaten through much of the insulation for the vent pipe for the hot water tank. And there was a similar situation with another wasp nest in between the ceiling joists to the right of the tank. And peeling away the nest revealed that all the insulation between the rafters had been eaten away. Mercifully, they hadn't quite got through the improvised perspex cover that I previously made for the water storage tank. Which brings me neatly on to how I actually treated these nests. Now, I should perhaps do my best to avoid a stream of angry comments from pest control companies saying you shouldn't be recommending to homeowners to treat their own wasp nests. Well, that is possibly the case. So if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable about sorting out your own wasp issues, then do go on Google and give one of these fabulous companies a call, because I'm sure they'll do a very good job. But in my case, over the years, I've had to treat a lot of wasp nests. Just for whatever reason, wasn't practical to get the pest control companies in, and I've used lots of different products. The problem with my nests is they're typically in brickwork or in hard to reach areas, so things like foam spray has not been useful in the past. I've found I've sprayed it into holes in the brickwork and the wasps wait for the foam to dissipate and then they start going in and out as per usual. In short, it doesn't kill the nest. These sort of foam products, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, are most effective if you actually target and spray them all over the nest itself. And obviously that's going to be a dangerous job working in a restrictive space like you've just seen in my loft. So over the years, by far the most effective thing I've found is to use stuff like this Wasp Killer Powder. And the wasp gets covered in powder, takes it into the nest, which systematically kills the nest. Now, I've used these powders in the past at dusk when the wasp nest was least active to limit the chances of being stung. But I decided to go one step better this time, and I bought this beekeeper suit, which you can get from eBay through the WeShop platform. More on that in a minute. But what that has enabled me to do is to treat the nests during the daytime without the fear of being stung, but also at a time when they're at their most active, and therefore the chances of them taking the powder into the nest and systematically killing it are at their highest. Or at least that seems to be the common sense approach. And this beekeeper suit really did do its job. As you see here, I had a couple of nests in different areas. I had one where the wasps were coming out of the chimney pot, and I had a couple more where they were coming in and out of gaps between the roof tiles. And with this suit, I was able to safely spray them and kill the wasp nests very, very quickly. So that's how I treated my nest, and it was very necessary in my situation. And it's worth taking other precautions like wearing a long sleeved shirt, double thickness, and decent pair of gloves, that sort of thing. Obviously shoes, socks, whilst you're treating the nest, so that just in case the wasps were able to sting through any of the protective gear. I'm not sure they would be able to, but it's just common sense, isn't it? Now, you've only got to read the back of this tub to see that this is an emotive subject. It warns you about treating any wasp nest near water storage tanks. What was mine? Very close to a water storage tank. It tells you to cover the storage tanks before treating the nest. It warns you about using it near bats and also bees that might forage into the nest that's been treated. And the other point, from a practical point of view to make, I have found in the past that if you try and use this to kill nests in your lawns and things like that, you've got to be very, very careful, because what this stuff will do is it will kill plant life as well. It's killed a couple of bushes in the garden. So use this with caution, and as I said at the start, if you're in any doubt, get the professionals in. And like with a lot of my videos, I've put this video up there today to encourage discussion and debate. Let me know in the comment section below what you would have done in my situation, so that anyone who's trying to work out how to treat their nests will have a really good educated debate on what solutions are available to them. Now, I mentioned WeShop a moment ago, and chances are you won't know what I'm talking about because it only launched a few months ago, but I mentioned this for the first time in last weekend's solar panel video, and I got such an enormous response I thought I'd mention it very quickly again. Any of you who watch my videos will know that I don't talk about anything that I don't believe in, and I never get paid for stuff that I talk about. So please hear me out on this one. Now, WeShop got in touch with me a few months ago to ask me if I would become a founder influencer. And at the time when our YouTube revenues were plummeting, I was quite interested in the idea. Why? Because it's a revolutionary new concept. They're giving away 90% of the platform to the people who shop on it. But what do I mean by that? Well, if you've used cashback schemes like Top Cashback or Quidco in the past, you'll be aware of how this sort of thing works. You buy stuff, and through an affiliate link, you get cash for what you're buying. But WeShop's a little bit more funky than that, because you can buy directly through retailers on the platform or by following people like myself on it who've recommended stuff. But when you buy something, you get 20% of the value of what you're buying in shares. I love the idea of this, particularly at a time when our YouTube revenues are being squeezed like never before. But what's really lovely about this is it's revolutionized the way I shop over the last few months. In the past, I bought almost everything from Amazon. I was dangerously addicted to it, I would say. But since I've been using WeShop, I've been supporting UK retailers, buying everything from dishwasher tablets through to my recent Hikoki nail gun. You sign up to it through the App Store or Play Store, and you have to quote my username DIYte because you can't sign in randomly. And there are a few other little perks as well, like you get 10% for influencing somebody else's purchase and 1% on anything that people you bring onto the platform spend. But also, it's a bit like you signing up to support me on, say, Patreon, because you can access all of my recent posts where I put videos against products that I like and talk about, but you're not paying me a monthly membership fee. Even better than that, you're getting shares every time you buy something. So that's the pitch, but to be brutally honest, I can't possibly say how things are going to pan out. You've got to hold your shares for 12 months before you sell them, and they're hoping to list on NASDAQ if it really takes off. But the way I look at it, you're getting shares for something you would have bought anyway, and you're supporting UK retailers into the bargain. That's it for today. I hope you found this useful. If you're new to my channel, as I always say, it means so much to me to have you subscribe. You can do that by clicking on the link here, and don't forget to click the bell notification icon so you get notified of all my future uploads. See you soon.